Good morning, dear students, and welcome to online classes conducted by Intermediate Board, Andhra Pradesh. Today, we are already learning about semiconductor electronics, and in last class, I told you what is a forbidden energy band gap and conduction band, valency band, intrinsic semiconductors, extrinsic semiconductors, and what are those the things semiconductor the thing. So I told you, depending on the conduction of materials, electric conduction of materials, we broadly divide into two types, simply conductors and insulators. These two we already divided, but in between these two we have taken another thing, those who can act as insulator as well as conductor in sometimes. Those are named as semiconductors. These semiconductor materials have the energy band gaps are very less, that is the valency band and conduction band energy band gap is less, whereas in conductors there is no gap between valency band and conduction band, and there is a large gap between valency band in conduction band for insulators. But there exists a medium thing, that is, so for conductors what I told, actually one is conduction band, another one is valency band, whereas in conductors there is no gap, no separation between valency band and conduction band. These are overlapped, so there is no distinction. Automatically valency band electrons can move from conduction band and conduction band to valency band, they will move as they are. Generally in conductors are all metals and they have free electrons. When you kept in external electric field, these pass electricity very easily. Already you learned it in current electricity and electrostatics also, current electricity especially. So materials and metals and insulators, these are conductors. And what about, I told you about insulators. Those insulators have a large band gap between conduction band and valency band. This band gap is very large. This gap is known as forbidden energy band gap, and generally at ordinary states, I told you, valency band is almost filled, whereas in insulators, even though you give some thermal energy or energy, it does not move this forbidden energy band gap. To move to valency band to conduction band, so that it does not cause any type of conduction. These are called insulators. And I told you, in between these conductors and insulators, there is a third kind of material rises. Those are nothing but our chapter, semiconductors. Those semiconductors, generally you may take it as silicon, germanium and carbon also. Carbon. But we do not account the carbon especially. We never discuss about that. Why? Because that carbon has more energy to break the electron from the atom, whereas for these two, germanium and silicon, if you give sufficient thermal energy, automatically the bond breaks and electron liberates from these atoms. This is the thing you have to remember in minds. And whereas these semiconductors are having a very less band gap compared with these insulators. This energy band gap is very less, the forbidden energy band gap, and this line is known as Fermi energy. So this is conduction band, this is valency band. At ordinary temperature, I told you, the valency band is completely filled with electrons, and these two are tetravalent. They have tetravalency, and this is the Fermi energy level. Between these two, this is the Fermi energy level. Generally, Fermi energy level can be defined as at 0 Kelvin, the highest energy state occupied by an electron, known as Fermi energy level. That means the highest energy level occupied by an electron at 0 Kelvin is accounted as Fermi energy level. And if you observe, generally this Fermi energy level is exactly in between these two, and this band gap is very less. The forbidden energy band gap is very less compared with these insulators. That means for insulators, the main point you have to keep in mind, even though you give some sufficient thermal energy or energy to the electrons, generally these electrons absorb that energy and they will move randomly, so that they have sufficient energy, then they will move from valency band to conduction band. Whereas in insulator it is not possible. Why? Because the energy band gap is very large. It cannot jump. That's why these are called insulators. Even you are given some thermal energy, insulator behaves as insulators only. They never conduct electricity. That means electron does not move from valency band to conduction band by ordinary means. Whereas the materials, especially germanium and silicon, these have a peculiar phenomena. That means the band gap between valency band and conduction band is very less. So that if you give sufficient energy, they can easily jump from valency band to conduction band, causing conduction. Valency band to conduction band, causing conduction. So these materials are known as semiconductors. And what is the Fermi energy level? The Fermi energy level is the highest energy occupied by the electrons, okay, at 0 Kelvin. At 0 Kelvin temperature, the highest energy occupied by the electrons, okay, that is known as Fermi energy level. Whereas from this they have to jump to conduction band. So this gap is also very less, you may imagine. So if you give sufficient thermal energy, they can easily jump to valency band to conduction bands, causing electric current. That means the agitation, that means movement of the electrons are occurring. But at ordinary temperatures, they behave as insulators only. That means at 0 Kelvin, these semiconductors behaves as insulators, and as the temperature rises, their conduction property increases. Their conduction property also increases. But they continuously conduct like conductors? No, it's not possible. Then what you have to do? That is the main important thing we need. So generally if further zoom it into electronic configuration and atomic model, I told you germanium and silicon are tetravalent in nature. So 4 valency electrons they have. For the neighboring also, when in crystal lattice, generally it is a free thing. When in crystal formation, why? Because germanium and silicon are some crystalline things, so that they are packed very closely. When they packed very closely, these atoms outermost orbits overlaps generally. Like you may imagine like this. Actually you may observe like this, you have to observe. But the only thing you have to understand is due to this closed packing, there will be some overlapping of the outermost orbitals. And due to this, you may get some of the they are pressed, these orbitals are pressed generally, you may imagine, due to the closed packing. For pressing, obviously some giving thermal excitations, you may get some free electron or hole. Depending on that we will discuss later. What is electron, what is hole, everything. And it will easily move out. This would be thermal excitations. Okay, that means when you give thermal energy, it easily break the bond. Outermost electrons can easily come out of the atom and will move freely. Later, these pure form, the pure form of germanium and silicon are known as intrinsic semiconductors. Here in intrinsic semiconductors, even though you have free electrons, those are very less number. Less number of holes or electrons you will observe. But for conduction process, you need more number of electrons. You need more number of electrons. Then, how to improvise this number of electrons or hole space? That is also one of the thing we have to understand. And you know, generally, for intrinsic semiconductors, number of electrons is equal to number of holes, that is equal to Ni. Okay. That is number of intrinsic charge carriers. Number of intrinsic charge carriers, that is accounted as. So electrons how many number, holes will be that much number only. That means here no increment of numbers of electron or hole things. And what these are electrons and holes, I told you already in last class. Today class also it comes into action. Okay. So to increase this less number of electrons or holes into large number for conduction, what we have to do? And that is known as addition of some impurity. You have to add some impurity. And you add some impurity to them, automatically the conduction of these materials increases. Okay. And in band theory mechanism, if you view, generally if you give some thermal energy, the valency band is, you may observe number of bands, these are holes, you may observe like this. But I told you the conduction band is almost empty up to 0 Kelvin, and from 0 Kelvin, as the energy increases, the conduction will increase, and you will observe the electrons will jump from one band to another band, causing conduction. These are electrons, these are holes. The empty space of electron is known as hole. Okay, and the dotted things are accounted as electrons. And in the valency band completely filled with electrons at ordinary temperatures, and even at 0 Kelvin it behaves as insulator, so it is completely filled with electrons. The valency band is, when the temperature rises, automatically some of the electrons absorb those temperature and they have sufficient agitation or the movement. They can jump this forbidden energy band gap, so that from valency band to conduction band they can jump and causing electric current. That is the thing you have to understand. So to improvise that means for pure semiconductors, the mechanism is very less number of free electrons or holes are accommodated. To improvise the number of holes or to increase the number of holes or electrons, okay, you have to add some impurities to these intrinsic semiconductors. So let's know what about that. So already we know that germanium and silicon are tetravalent. So small quantities of, that means small quantities of trivalent or pentavalent impurities, say pentavalent or trivalent, are added to the pure form of germanium and silicon crystals, the conduction will increase. That means small quantities of pentavalent and trivalent impurities are added. The addition of impurity, so this is a type of impurity you are adding to the pure form of germanium and silicon crystals. So the process of addition of impurity, small impurity 3, to pure form of germanium and silicon crystals is called doping. When you dope with a pentavalent impurity to germanium, what happens? Or when you dope with a trivalent impurity to a tetravalent germanium or silicon, what happens? That's what today we would like to learn, and what is a junction diode later. Generally, arsenic, antimony, phosphorus are known as pentavalent impurities. That means these materials can have 5 valency electrons in their outermost orbits or in their atoms, and our germanium and silicon materials, these are the semiconductor materials, have tetravalent in nature. That is, they have pentavalent. That means it have 5 valency electrons, whereas germanium and silicon have 4 valency electrons. And when you doped a small quantities of arsenic or phosphorus, then it has 5 valency electrons, it has 4 valency electrons. That is, this phosphorus or arsenic, if you take, it is accounted as 5 valency electrons. It is accommodated with only 4 valency electrons of germanium or silicon also you can take. What about this? 1 electron is remaining. That means 1 electron is remaining means 4 it will accommodate. So 1 electron is loosely bounded to arsenic atom, and it can be easily, that means these are very strong covalent bonds. Actually the germanium forms a covalent bond with arsenic, 4 electrons only, but the 5th electron having this arsenic is loosely bounded to this atom, so that this electron can easily move out. Why? Because it need a very less energy to move out of the electron, so that it will liberated as a free electron. This free electron can cause conduction. Imagine, due to this small addition of impurity, okay, automatically number of electrons are coming to as the free electrons which are bounded to arsenic. Here arsenic is donor, germanium is acceptor. So this germanium has a negative polarity you may get. So this is accounted as N-type semiconductor. So N-type semiconductor. So in this N-type semiconductor, the negative electrons are majority charge carriers. The negative electrons are majority charge carriers. How it is forming N-type semiconductor? If we add a pentavalent impurity to the pure germanium or silicon, both you may take any one. Okay, pure germanium or silicon crystals, then N-type semiconductor is formed. N-type semiconductor is formed. Then how can you produce a p-type semiconductor? So you can add pentavalent or trivalent impurities. Okay, so N-type semiconductor is formed by addition of a pentavalent impurity like arsenic, antimony or phosphorus to the pure form of germanium or silicon crystals. Then N-type semiconductor is formed. Now, how can you produce a p-type semiconductor? Obviously, You know that. So this p-type semiconductor, how can you p-type semiconductor? How can you form a p-type semiconductor? Actually, to a pure form of germanium or silicon crystal, if you add trivalent impurity like boron, aluminum, those materials if you add, then you will get a p-type semiconductor. So boron, aluminum, indium, boron, aluminum, indium. So these are known as trivalent impurities. So they are trivalent impurities. So when we add to the pure germanium crystal, these are four electrons. They have 4 electrons, valency electrons. Why? Because these are tetravalent. So it has 4 electrons. Electron 1, 2, 3, 4. And you are adding trivalent impurity like boron, aluminum, indium, such type of things you are adding. Then what happens? That means this trivalent impurity, whenever I am saying tri means how many valency electrons it has? 3. It can accommodate 3 electrons. That is like this, you may imagine. So indium, if you add, no problem, you can take it indium. Okay. It may form covalent bonds with 3 of the germanium electrons only. What about this electron? This is given as like this. So this is a trivalent impurity. It can accommodate 1 electron. This is a tetravalent material, and one electron or hole is attached to it. Here the point you have to understand now, germanium is donor and indium or phosphorus is the acceptor. So it has some positive polarity. If you imagine, this thing is accounted as hole. This thing is accounted as, why? Because this is a donor, germanium, now it is donor, whereas in pentavalent impurity added, that is acceptor. Here it is donor. So in p-type semiconductor, holes are the majority charge carriers. Why? Because these forms holes. Okay, trivalent impurity, 1 electron is loosely bounded to germanium atom. That's what we have to understand. So how can we produce a p-type semiconductor? Trivalent impurities like boron, aluminum, indium are added to pure germanium or silica crystals. P-type semiconductor is formed. P-type semiconductor is formed. Here you may account it as holes are majority charge carriers. Holes are majority charge carriers in p-type. So in pure form they have very less number of outermost electrons. Those may not conduct that much of big conduction. So to improvise the nature of conduction, you have to add impurities to the materials of germanium and silicon. The addition of impurities is known as doping, and this doping is also of two types. One is a pentavalent impurity. If you add n-type semiconductor is formed, and trivalent impurity if you add, you will get a p-type semiconductors. Now these p-type and n-type semiconductors will have large number of free electrons or holes which can participate for conduction. This is the thing, you can convert this pure form of germanium and silicon crystals into conductors by addition of impurities. And this doping concentration also differs. Okay, this doping concentration, sir, means how much I have to add. That is known as doping concentration. That means the addition of impurity is known as doping. How much you have to add? Actually for 100% of, that means for 100 you can add 1%, 0.01% like that. A very small quantity, even if you add, depending on doping, that concentration of doping, the conduction property of these materials increases. And now, what is a PN junction diode?